Here with Kevin Smith, former defensive coordinator at Franklin Road Academy, among other places, breaking down some of the top games here in the Middle Tennessee area for this weekend. Kevin, getting started, we're out here at Centennial. They're kind of going through a walkthrough as most teams do on Thursday before a Friday night game. They got a big matchup to open up. Got Franklin coming across town.
Yeah, actually, and think this is going to be an awesome game to start the season. If you remember last year, something that I hope the TSSAA will eventually correct, Centennial and Franklin actually played Week 10, Franklin winning. Centennial turns around and beats them in the first round of the playoffs and makes a run the furthest in the school's history to the state quarterfinals. So I think to open the season with this kind of matchup is really exciting for both communities.
Oh, absolutely. You know, this rivalry is one that's kind of picked up over the last few years. Centennial opened in '96, went a pretty good while without beating Franklin. Once they did so pretty decisively. And since then, it's really been a nip and tuck, hard-fought kind of thing between both these teams, both these programs. The communities really get behind it. Great game. Like you said, Franklin won the regular season finale last year. Centennial won the first round of the playoffs, each on the other one's field. This one here, interesting matchup from the standpoint that Centennial lost a lot on offense with Deion Sanders and Emmanuel Hall both being gone. Emmanuel's cutting up at Missouri, and Deion is playing over at Furman. Got some pieces to replace.
Yeah, and with those stars being gone, the good thing for Centennial is they have 3 returning offensive linemen, and a couple of these offensive linemen are mean and physical guys. And when you can start up front with some returning offensive linemen, I think you have a chance. On top of the fact that if they can have consistent quarterback play, they're trying to, 1 or 2 guys here, they may rotate quarterbacks. They may get a guy who comes in as consistent. If they can get consistent quarterback play with an offensive line returning, I think they'll be okay offensively.
And Brian Rector earlier in the preseason kind of indicated that they were going to be looking at 2 guys at quarterback, Blake Lovell, transfer from Spring Hill, and Tristan Piscani, who got some time last year, I think. So he doesn't mind going with 2 guys. He went with 2 guys last year as well. I think the last established starter they had was 2 years ago with J.J. Tomlin. So he doesn't mind mixing and matching at that position.
Yeah, and then when you factor in that Terrell Dotson's back, Texas A&M commit at linebacker, but is also a guy who almost rushed for 1,000 yards last year. He is returning. We'll still get some carries. We'll still help this offensive out and take some of the load off the running back position. But when they have a defense that they have coming back, they're in a 3-3-5 attacking defensive scheme. They're going to get after the football. They're going to try to blitz the gaps. They're going to try to put pressure on Franklin. And when they do that, they're going to be able to create turnovers and hopefully give a young offense some short fields to get some easy scoring opportunities.
Franklin offensively, I'm kind of fascinated by where they go and what they do offensively this time around, because they lose a guy, Joe Critchlow, who had been a 3-year starter for him at quarterback, and they really threw the ball a lot and kept the pressure off with just running it enough. I think they are going more run. Looks like they're running some veer and that kind of thing, and may not be the prettiest thing in the world, but Donnie Webb is hoping that it's effective and they can sustain some drives and keep their defense fresh.
Yeah, I actually got an opportunity to talk to the offensive coordinator at Franklin, Dan Winfrey, last year, who's a former offensive coordinator at Brentwood High when they were running some double wing stuff. And they're going to be multiple spread. They are looking to run the ball a little bit more. They're really excited about Mitch Rossi at the H-back position and also at linebacker. And they really like Landon Craddock, who they feel like is a really good football player, really good high school football player, and they want to feed him the football. Dan does a great job offensively. I think they'll be okay there. They also like their 2 bookend tackles. They got 2 guys that they feel at the right tackle and left tackle position can play at the next level one day. They're both young, but they do like some pieces they have coming or that are coming around here. Even though they only have 3 returning starters, they like some pieces that they're putting together.
Saw Craddock last weekend in a scrimmage down at Independence, and they do like feeding it to him, and he really runs it hard. Also, Wes Patterson at quarterback is one of the 2 guys they're looking at back there, and he's a real threat in the run game as well. Another game we're going to take a look at is Fairview and Page, another Williamson County rivalry. They're calling it the Battle of 840. A couple of pretty highly touted quarterbacks there. Michael Magochi for Page, Hunter Zimmerman for Fairview. both those guys and both those teams have had a little bit of success, and again, in a pretty good rivalry there to start the season.
Yeah, I think Page is ready to get back on the winning side here. I think Fairview's won the last 2, maybe 3 years in this rivalry, and I think Page is ready to kind of take control back of that rivalry. It sounds like to me that Page is really young up front, and so that's going to be an issue for them. My understanding is they're very excited about their quarterback. If they can keep him standing upright and not getting pressured, they feel like he can get the ball to some receivers that they really like, that can catch the ball and can turn and make plays, yards after the catch. And they really love their running back.
Michael Roberts.
I think for Page, if they can get some blocking up front and get that offensive line to gel, they feel really good about their offensive scheme.
Fairview again, Zimmerman is running things at quarterback. They had a transfer come in, Jake Beathard, who's going to see a lot of time at running back. Apparently he's related to the Beathards of BGA, a cousin of CJ and Tucker and those guys, and Clay, who's over there now. So, and Chris Hughes is really excited about Jake, says he can really run, and he's excited about their team speed on offense.
Yeah, and Coach Hughes does a good job. Like we've talked about in the podcast on Tuesdays, is Fairview has done an excellent job building a consistent program, making deep runs in the playoffs. And my understanding is Coach Hughes really likes this team, thinks he's got some good pieces in place to, again, attack the regular season and push forward in the playoffs.
Defensively, the 2 linebackers that they've got, Ben Buttry and Josh Ortiz, are the keys as far as trying to get Page stopped in this game on Friday.
Yeah, I actually talked to a Page coach, and he said that guy's almost unblockable. They are really high scouting the linebacker for Fairview. They think he's an outstanding high school football player. So it'll be interesting to see how Page counteracts him.
6'2", 235 at that level is pretty impressive.
Very impressive.
Yeah. We're going to take a break here.
Patton Sports videocast is brought to you by Snap Laces. Snap Laces' elite lacing system was designed for world-class athletes. They come in hundreds of color combinations so you can perform well and look great at the same time. Buy a set online today by clicking through the top image on Patton Sports. The law practice of Allen D. Hall, PLC, is grounded in providing exceptional legal services with the utmost trust and integrity. Legal services Allen provides include employment law, confidential investigations, general business law, risk management, and regulatory policy interpretation and drafting. Ultimately, if you need consulting solutions, Allen D. Hall needs to be your choice. I2 Family Integrity Insurance. I2 Agency was started with one primary focus in mind: helping people. As a multi-line insurance agency, we do that in a variety of ways with a full portfolio of products. Whether it's life, health, dental, Medicare, annuities, or home and auto insurance, we design solutions that will meet your individual needs.
To continue looking at this weekend's games, we've got Ensworth making the trip up I-65 to Kentucky Power Trinity. I think they won their 23rd Kentucky State Championship last fall. Ensworth has won the last 2 games in this series. They won up there 2 years ago, 27-26, beat a pretty good Trinity team. They had Reggie Bonifant, who's now starting at quarterback for Louisville. And then they won down here last year, 21-14. So, Kevin, what do you know about this one?
Well, Trinity comes in 2013, finished 6-6, and turned around in 2014 and won the state championship. And during that 2013 season, they had a lot of sophomores playing defensively. And I remember back to that now, talking to associate head coach Paul Wade over at Ensworth yesterday. He talked about how all those guys are now seniors, and he expects a tough contest and a stout defense from Trinity Christian Friday night.
You got to like Darius Moorhead, the senior tailback for Ensworth, and with the personnel losses that Ensworth had, you got to think that he's going to see the ball a lot Friday night.
Yeah, and Coach Wade has a history of feeding their running backs. That he enjoys giving those guys the ball, especially a great player that Darius is. Also look for Tim Covington to get quite a few carries, a young man who I think is going to blossom this year. He's got an opportunity to help Darius in the run game and take some pressure off him. So look for Ensworth to give you a steady diet of the run game and also do a great job in the play action pass.
You know, I really like what I saw out of Coleman Goodwin when he had to come in 2 years ago and replace an injured P.J. Settles down the stretch.
Yeah, he's a big kid. A lot of people early on kind of compared him a little bit to a Tim Tebow, just as far as his size and what he brought to the quarterback position. It's now his job. It's now his turn to lead this Ensworth team, and I look for him to have a big year.
You know, defensively, Ensworth will be without, obviously, a Rico McGraw and a Donovan Sheffield. I mean, when you lose two SEC caliber guys back there in the defensive secondary, you got to wonder what things look like back there after that.
Yeah, they are super young on defense, and talking to Ensworth's coaches, they talked about not getting spooked in the atmosphere that they're going up there, is keeping those young kids in the moment and not getting scared of the atmosphere that they're running into. And on top of that, keeping the big plays away, keeping Trinity in front of them, not allowing big plays, and making Trinity punt. If they can make Trinity punt, they feel like they can do some things offensively to turn the momentum their way.
You know, when you talk about a team like a Trinity who has won 23 state championship, they tend to have a few players. Sounds like they've got a couple of good ones this year. An offensive lineman that's being looked at pretty hard, Michael Highstand, and defensive end Connor Foss. What else do you know about Trinity?
I know just their history of Trinity, and you know, they actually got rid of their entire defensive staff back in 2013 after going 6-6. So they won a state championship, turned around with 8 sophomores, got rid of the whole defensive staff, and then turned around and won it the next year. But I sure do hate it for that defensive staff that didn't get to they got to develop those young kids and then didn't get to see the fruits of their labor. But Trinity always does a good job. It's a program that's always in the USA Today top 100 rankings, and it's always a good test for Ensworth to play them.
Yeah. I think they're playing Brentwood Academy this year as well, so local fans will get a couple of opportunities to hear about that program anyway. Another big game in the area, shifting to Saturday's schedule. We got 3 big ones. One of them will be at Vanderbilt, where we've got Hillsborough and Pearl Cone. It's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, if you have the need for speed, this is the game for you. We got 2 teams loaded with talent. On top of being out on the turf field at Vanderbilt, it's just going to make them look even faster, and they're going to play. It's going to be an atmosphere that they're going to be geeked up about. 2 of Metro's finest, with Hillsborough being the runner-up last year in 5A, and Pearl Cone being 1 game away from being in the finals in 3A. Now they are 4A. I think this is going to be a barn burner. I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. You don't need to get up and go to the bathroom. Don't be looking at your Twitter account, because you're liable to miss a big explosive play if you do, because this is going to be a back-and-forth contest.
They've got some explosion on both sides of the ball. We've talked about Jimmy Farrell, the quarterback for Pearl Cone. We've talked about Rontavius Groves, the receiver. Don't know exactly what they're going to do at the tailback, where they lost Keyshawn Vaughn, a 2-year, 2,000-yard rusher, but we really like those 2 guys.
Yeah, and I have a feeling they have a few backs that can come in and play, and obviously Keyshawn was a special player. But they got some guys that can run the football enough to take pressure off Groves and Jimmy. Jimmy and Mr. Groves are special. They got a special relationship. They know where each other's going to be. They know what they want to do. And speaking with Pearl Cone's offense coordinator, Damian Harris, last night, he talked about they're going to have to win on the edge. They're going to have to get their speed to the edge because of how big and physical Hillsborough is. And they are going to try to run some jet sweeps. They're going to try to keep the pace up with their no-huddle offense, try to keep Hillsborough on their heels. So look for Pearl Cone to do everything they can to control the ball with their tempo, but at the same time try to keep Hillsborough reeling on defense.
I think Groves may have hit a jet sweep last week in the Jamboree. I think he scored on a 70-yard run. So, you know, we were kind of thinking along the same lines with the jet, and I think that is something that Hillsborough will see a lot of because of their size up front, with a Malcolm Swan and with a Ben Hutch and some of those guys on defense.
Yeah, they're very disruptive on defense. Talking again on our podcast on Tuesday, Coach Lowe, the defense coordinator there at Hillsborough, loves his front 7. He thinks he's really physical in the defensive backfield with Marquis Fleming at the DB position, a Mercer commit. I think he's a fantastic player, a kid I think's underrated, but he feels like they're going to run to the football and they're going to cause turnovers. And speaking with Pearl Cone's coaches, they're worried about containing Hillsborough's receivers as well offensively, because they're big up front on offense with an explosive running back and a quarterback who can get the ball to those receivers, who can turn and get yards after the catch.
Exactly. You know, Hillsborough breaking in a new quarterback in Dalen Murphy, taking over from Michael Hughes. But again, there are some guys that you just know the ball is going to be in the air when you play offense for them, and Craig Clayton is one of those. So Dalen Murphy is going to have to catch up quick.
Yeah, and I think Hillsboro's, Coach Clayton likes to throw it a little bit, but I think you'll see more of a run game this year. I think you'll see him get back to his far and his near formations, a little bit more eye than you've seen in the past with him, and they're going to throw it a little more with a little play action, but they are so explosive on the outside that you are going to see them try to get the ball out there to their playmakers, even though it is going to be a little bit more run-oriented.
The law practice of Allen D. Hall, PLC, is grounded in providing exceptional legal services with the utmost trust and integrity. Legal services Allen provides include employment law, confidential investigations, general business law, risk management, and regulatory policy interpretation and drafting. Ultimately, if you need consulting solutions, Allen D. Hall needs to be your choice. I2, Family Integrity Insurance. I2 Agency was started with one primary focus in mind: helping people. As a multi-line insurance agency, we do that in a variety of ways with a full portfolio of products. Whether it's life, health, dental, Medicare, annuities, or home and auto insurance, we design solutions that will meet your individual needs. John Mayer Builders proudly sponsors Patton Sports. With over 1,500 homes built in Middle Tennessee, John Mayer Builders knows the importance of families and communities. They have numerous business awards to their credit, proving that John Mayer Builders is built to win. Like them on Facebook. John Mayer Builders, our reputation is building. Saturday at MTSU, the inaugural Middle Tennessee Football Classic. Blackman and Oakland are playing not just anybody from Alabama, but the defending 6A and 7A state champs. Blackman has got Clay Chalkville, which won 6A last year. I think they went 15-0 in the process. So should be a good ball game in the early matchup over there.
Mo, this is really exciting. As a former coach, I just think these events are awesome. It's awesome for Middle Tennessee high school football. It's awesome for the kids and the programs that are involved in it. I'd love to see more of these as we progress year in and year out. This is just fun. This is fun stuff. But speaking with Coach Watson from Blackman, he feels like his kids had a really good camp. And one thing he talked about was they play hard. They're doing what the coaching staffs ask them to do. He wants them to obviously play a little bit smarter, but if you play hard, the smarts will come as the season progresses. His big thing right now is that the team he's facing set a point record. They averaged 48 points a game on offense last year, and their goal defensively is just to weather the storm. Just try to get them to punt. He knows they're not going to stop him every time, but if they can get him to punt a couple times, weather the storm, and maybe cause a turnover here or there, give him a short side of the field so the offense can maybe get some easy points, he feels like they'll be okay in this matchup.
Tough game to make your head coaching debut in, as David Watson is. Coached at Siegel, been at Blackman the last 5 years as defensive coordinator, takes over for Philip Shadowans, who went up to East Tennessee to take over the William Blunt program. But this is a tough debut, like you said, against a Clay Chalkville team that is really explosive. Blackman had so many weapons on offense last year with Jawan Jennings and Charlie Davidson and all those receivers, all seniors, all gone. Miller Armstrong, who got some time at linebacker for him last year, moves over and is a starting quarterback. And like you said, they're awfully young in a lot of places.
Yeah, and I think defensively, Chalkville's quarterbacks has combined 60 touchdowns last year running and throwing the ball. So again, you're talking about stopping a great player, but I think part of what we just talked about defensively is also what can Blackman do offensively to help keep Chalkville's offense on the sideline. And Coach Watson talked about controlling the clock and running the football. They do feel good about the run game. They got a couple pieces there. Really like their tight end, Joseph Sowell, who could, in my opinion, become a great tight end this year as a junior for Blackman. He feels good about some pieces, even though they are young, that they can control the clock, and he says they got to score. He said they got to put points on the board. They can't have empty possessions so that they can stay in the game with Chalkville.
I think Taylor Dowdy is probably one of the top threats for them in the run game. Going to see the ball a lot, like you said, as they try to shorten up the game with the run game. In the second game over at MTSU, you've got Oakland against that storied Hoover program that, again, won 7A. I think they took a couple of losses, but one of their 12 wins was over Blackman, I think, in the season finale last year.
Yeah, Hoover's been known for years. Obviously, they were on MTV for a while as a program, and they just continue to build and build and build. They're always loaded with Division I prospects. And you talked about a debut for Coach Watson. What a debut for Coach Creasy. Coach Creasy's coming over from Trousdale County, opening up with Oakland, putting in a brand new offense, brand new system, and learning his kids. And right off the bat, they're jumping in with Hoover. However, for Oakland, even though they lost some good players, some headline guys that we've all talked about that have gone into to the next level, they got quite a bit of talent coming back. And it starts with Jacoby Stevens. When Jacoby Stevens gets going, both defensively and offensively, he's hard to handle. He is a good-looking athlete that is a great football player. So I'm looking for him to have a big night versus Hoover.
Yeah, I think he's one of those guys that really steps up when the lights are on. He was a little banged up over the summer, missed some 7-on-7 tournaments and that kind of thing with an ankle, but I think he's back and ready to go. And like you said, he's going to be a key for them. Also, a couple of the quarterbacks, they've rotated quarterbacks in through 7-on-7, and I don't know if Kevin Creasy has decided what direction he's going to go in there, but again, whoever it is, they're going to be looking for Stevens, and it'll be interesting to see what they do offensively right out of the gate.
Yeah, I'm actually very anxious to see that. I'm anxious to see if we talked about a Ty Nix possibly getting in on the offensive side of the ball. Anxious to see how many guys are going to go two ways. Anxious to see, is he going to be more of a spread wing tee, or is he going to be more of a, foot to foot, in tight, try to get the edges with the jet sweeps, the counters, the powers. Interested to see if they're going to be more of a passing wing tee. So we really don't know what Oakland's going to come out in, and I think it's probably going to be dictated on what they've seen on film with Hoover. But it is kind of an exciting time to see what Coach Creasy will have in store for Hoover.
Well, you've heard our 6 games, or what we thought were the top 6 games in the area for this opening weekend. Kevin, let's step out on that limb a little bit. Who do you like in this Franklin Centennial matchup?
I think it's going to be a great game. It's going to be one in the trenches. I actually really like Centennial in this game. I just don't know that Franklin can stop them enough on defense, and Centennial is going to run away with it in the second half with a strong run game and big plays. I look for Centennial to win this football game.
I think Centennial wins this one as well. What about Fairview Page?
I like Fairview. I mean, you got to go with the team who's won the last 2 years. Again, I'm going to go back to the trenches. Fairview likes their quarterback with good offensive line play and a beast middle linebacker that's leading that defense, whereas Page is a little bit more concerned about their offensive line. So I'm going to go with Fairview in this matchup. I'm
going to go with Fairview because I like the idea of the team speed that Fairview is going to put on the field, and again, that linebacker kind of patrolling sideline to sidelines. Ensworth Trinity.
Ensworth is so young. I'm really excited about Ensworth's prospects as the season progresses. But with a senior-laden defense, I'm going to have to take Trinity in this one.
I'm going to go Ensworth. I saw Trinity 2 years ago when I think they were number 2 or number 3 in the country, and I just wasn't impressed. And again, that might have been some of those sophomores that are now seniors, and that one may come back to haunt me. But I'm going to go with Ensworth in this one. Hillsborough Pearl Cone.
Again, track meet. If you're in the need for speed, please come out to this game. I think it's going to be an awesome atmosphere and a great game. But I'm going with Hillsborough. They're too big up front. They got just as much explosive power as Pearl Cone does. Hillsborough's going to put it together. I actually see Hillsborough winning a little bit more comfortably than people probably think.
I like Hillsborough close in this one because I think Pearl Cone's going to be able to slow Hillsborough down enough and score enough to make it close. I like Hillsborough when it's all said and done, but I like them close. Blackman and Clay Chalkville.
I'd love to pick Blackman. Love Coach Watson, what he's trying to do down there at Blackman, but I'm going to have to go with Chalkville. I just think they're too explosive. A quarterback who comes back with 60 combined touchdowns, I just look for them to come out and take that game there at the Classic.
I think you're right. I'm going with Clay Chalkville as well. And in the finale, Oakland and Hoover.
Yeah, this is a very intriguing matchup because we really don't know what Coach Creasy is going to do yet. Oakland has a lot of good players, and so does Hoover. But I'm still going to go with the Alabama team. I'm going to go with Hoover. I think they got a lot of Division I prospects, and they just got too much talent, too much speed that they're going to overcome Oakland in that football game.
Well, I guess there's only one that we're disagreeing on then, because I'm taking Hoover as well, and I hate to watch both the visitors head out of town with wins, but I think Hoover, in Kevin Creasy's first game, like you said, they're still kind of feeling their way along a little bit. I think Hoover's going to come out on top in this one.
John Mayer Builders proudly sponsors Mo Patton Sports Videocast. With over 1,500 homes built in Middle Tennessee, John Mayer Builders knows the importance of families and communities. They have numerous business awards to their credit, proving that John Mayer Builders is built to win. Like them on Facebook, John Mayer Builders. Our reputation is building.
I want to thank you for checking in on us here on Mo Patton Sports Videocast. For Kevin Smith, I'm Maurice Patton. We'll see you at the ball game.